And after being recorded, we're going to post it on YouTube. So, you know, if there's one of your colleagues or classmates who you think would also be interested in this information, once that's up, we'll share it with all of you. So again, we'll just, one more minute. I always feel like, what's that character from SNL? Talk amongst yourselves.
Yes, talk amongst yourselves.
I'll give you a topic. Chickpea is neither a chick nor a pea. Discuss. Oh, Coffee Talk. Yes, that is it. Coffee Talk with Barbara Allen. Is that it? Oh, yeah, it was either Jimmy Fallon or
Mike Myers.
Yeah.
One of those two.
I think Jennifer's now with us. So, hi, Jennifer. I'm going to mute your mic. Hi. You're now muted. So, if you have any questions or anything to add, if you guys move your mouse to the top of the screen, you should get a little drop down, and you'll see one box that says participants, and that'll show you everyone else who's joining us today, and another one that says chat, and that will allow you to chat with us. And it seems like everybody's been really great about the chat so far, so I don't think I'll have to go into too much depth with that. And just again, to let everybody know, we are recording this session.
And when you do put your questions into chat, don't be afraid to sprinkle them throughout the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
We'll keep an eye on the chat box and get to them as time allows. If we think that it's more applicable to answer them a little later in the presentation, we might do that. So don't think that we have forgotten or neglected you. We'll get to those questions.
And we'll read the questions aloud so that they'll be picked up by the recording. All right, so let's get started. Again, my name is Mandy and Evan. I work here at the State Library of Ohio. I've worked for libraries in a shocking amount of time. I of course, started when I was but a babe. I think I have like 15 years of experience working in libraries at this point.
Yes, and I'm Evan Struble. I'm a library consultant here at the State Library alongside Mandy. I've been here for about 2.5 years, and like Mandy, have basically worked in libraries all my life. So I'm pushing 17 years this year, which is crazy to even consider that that's a possibility. So we're both very excited to get to talk to you today about this program and this experience that we hope you or some of your colleagues will get to experience.
So again, the name of this program is Guiding Ohio Online. And today we're going to talk about what AmeriCorps is. This is an AmeriCorps program, kind of what people do in Guiding Ohio Online, what kind of benefits members can expect from participating in Guiding Ohio Online, where do members serve, and kind of like the type of people or the qualities and skills that we think would be a really excellent fit for Guiding Ohio Online. Okay, let's get started. So first off, what is AmeriCorps? We say this is an AmeriCorps program, and if you haven't done it before, it's kind of this nebulous idea. Some people get it confused with the Peace Corps, and it is similar in certain ways, and some people get it confused kind of with, military service, and it's not that either. So what is AmeriCorps? Well, there are essentially 3 kind of types of AmeriCorps members. There are VISTA members. That stands for Volunteers in Service to America. There's NCCC, and that's National Civilian Conservation Corps. And then there's AmeriCorps State and National. So of these, we are the AmeriCorps State and National. The VISTA members are a little bit different. They don't provide they don't directly work with people. They do solely capacity building, which is like helping organizations become better. NCCC is a little bit different. They're very different, actually. They live in dorms and like kind of travel around the country and do very short-term projects. So ours is the third one. We are an AmeriCorps state program. And what that means is we only serve Ohio, and where our money comes through funds allocated to the state. So there won't be any members in Kentucky. And we do direct service. Our focus is directly working with people. And then really quickly, I just kind of wanted to go over a little bit, how AmeriCorps has developed. So it started actually in the 1960s with both the senior volunteer program, the foster grandparents program, and the Volunteers in Service to America. So these were both started as sort of part of the war on poverty started by President Johnson, and they were placed in areas of high poverty to increase services, to really get in communities and make a big difference. And that program was very successful. Peace Corps started around the same time. And then in 1990, AmeriCorps was started. So they took the VISTA program, which was very awesome and good, and RSVP and these other programs, and they built on it. Because VISTAs, again, they don't work directly with people. They only do capacity building, and they wanted to provide more direct services. So AmeriCorps was started, and VISTA and these other programs were sort of folded into those. So that's when our grantor, the Corporation for National and Community Service, was created in 1993 as part of that. And then in 2009, the Edward Kennedy Serve America Act was signed. And basically what that did was it expanded the existing AmeriCorps program, provided more funds, provided more, a broader range of programs. So that's kind of a nutshell version, if you will, of the AmeriCorps as it's developed through the past 50 years now. They say 25. If you look at the thing, they're like 20 years or whatever, but certain parts of the program have been in existence longer. Okay, so I'm going to let Evan talk a little bit about our program, just nuts and bolts. What is Guiding Ohio Online?
Okay, so with Guiding Ohio Online, we took a look at the mission of AmeriCorps. We took a look at some of the needs here within Ohio, and certainly within the libraries that serve certain communities here in Ohio. And recently, we were privy to receive this information from OCLC that kind of outlined the fact, some things that you'll see here are kind of common sense maybe to you. The internet is important to everyone, but there are definitely pockets of the state where internet access is a lot more difficult to obtain, especially high-speed access. I can speak from personal experience. I'm from the southeastern part of the state, very rural part of the state. My parents just got broadband internet less than 5 years ago. And before that, I would always have to wait for them to not have a busy signal when I would call home to give updates from college or whatnot. So there definitely are pockets of the state that are underserved by the internet, and there are definitely age groups and socioeconomic groups that are underserved by internet access. And as initiatives are moving online, such as e-government, such as applying for benefits, applying for jobs, as you all well know, everything is moving towards an online module, and there is a certain population that's being left behind. So our hope and our intent is that the Guiding Ohio online program will work to kind of bridge that gap and serve those people that are quote-unquote left behind.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about it, now the GED test is completely online. Also, for many of the major companies like and not, you know, your executive level positions anymore, to work at Wendy's, to work at UDF, United Dairy Farmers, at gas station. Their application is all online. And when you're in a certain socioeconomic group, like many of our legislators, bless their hearts, if you have more education or a higher income and live in a city, you feel that, you know, everybody is, you know, hang on. Is the sound quality any better now? How about now? Okay, sound quality is good. Okay, we made a couple adjustments. Hopefully that helps. Sorry about that, guys. We were just, again, talking about the diagram that different pockets of the population are getting left behind. So we have seniors, people with lower income, people who are less educated, and adults living with a disability are less likely to be online than other parts of the population. And as Evan was saying, this is especially true in rural areas as opposed to urban areas. So this next one, I mean, why aren't people online? And this goes over kind of some of the main reasons. First of all, there's cost. And this is why this program focuses on public libraries. If you can't afford internet services at home, every public library in the state does have broadband access, regardless, even if they're in, you know, the most remote area, they will have high speed, and people can go to these locations and use these services. Relevance, this is one that we particularly see with seniors. They just haven't, you know, some folks, again, bless their hearts, have not kind of kept up with the times and realize how many services are now online only, so they don't realize kind of the potential uses of the internet. I think a good example is military families and Skype. You know, now with Skype, you can connect with, you know, your family member who's serving in, you know, remote regions of the world and talk to them real time and see their face. And I don't know that not everyone understands that that is a potential thing.
And that's a great example, but I think the other flip side of this is that, again, that certain segment of the population, in particular senior citizens, also don't realize the entertainment value that can come from you know, internet connectivity in terms of games, in terms of socializing. Sure. Facebook, there's a huge segment of Facebook where now senior citizens are users, and you know, what a great joy it would be, you know, thinking of my own grandparents who are not online, and how great it would be for them to be able to connect with, you know, classmates that have moved all over the world or family members.
Right, and that it's wholesome, I think, is the other thing that.
Right, the internet certainly has sometimes a bad rap where senior citizens tend to get a little scared of it. So I think having someone, and as we get to the nuts and bolts of the Guiding Ohio Online program, having someone there that can actually spend time with, one-on-one with the senior population and explain to them that it's not, you know, all scary monsters and people that are out to steal your identity. It's also, you know, can be used, the powers can be used for good.
Yeah, so absolutely. And the third one on this sheet is really the lack of skills. You know, they don't know how to use a computer, or they have used a computer, but no one has the time to sit with them, as Evan was mentioning. So we have all these issues, you know, and then we asked our libraries, like, what is kind of holding you back? What's the thing that makes you unable to provide, you know, computer classes or one-on-one assistance in your library? And the number one thing they said to us was, we do not have the capacity of our staff. And so this program really did come from trying to meet this need of, you know, making sure that everyone in Ohio has adequate access to information through the internet. And computer skills are a big part of it. It's like, to my mind, it's the same equivalent of teaching someone how to use a dictionary. No one's born knowing how to use a dictionary, how it's arranged. In the same way, no one is comes into this world knowing how to use a computer or what the internet is or how to tell a good site. You have to teach those skills, and you have to have somebody to be the teacher. And so this program really starts about, here's this big need that we have in Ohio. How do we meet that need? So the Guiding Ohio Online program is all about helping people in rural public libraries to use the internet to improve their lives. Do you want to talk a little bit about this point, Evan?
Sure. So what will ultimately happen is that AmeriCorps members will be placed in these rural libraries, either in a full-time or a part-time capacity, and we'll get to kind of the nuts and bolts of that in a minute. But what you'll actually be doing if you are in the library as part of this program, you'll be providing things such as classroom-style computer training. A lot of libraries would try to host these on an infrequent schedule as staff allow. But if you have someone on staff that's designated to do that, you could host a computer training class twice a week, once a week. You could really start to build up your reputation for having, a varied curriculum of different topics that are covered. So, no longer are you hamstrung by the fact that you might only have 2 staff members in the building and they have to monitor, 3 desks. You're going to have someone that can actually stand off to the side or in a computer lab if the library has a designated space and provide a traditional kind of classroom-style training. But it doesn't stop there. We don't want the AmeriCorps member to feel like that's their only opportunity for educating the public. We want them to feel comfortable doing one-on-one assistance as well on a more kind of informal drop-in basis. Basically, like any library patron who might come in with a computer-related question, I'm thinking back to my time at the reference desk, and you get this question and it's going to take at least 10 or 15 minutes sitting with the person next to them, helping them through the steps. Well, now you actually will have someone on staff, or the AmeriCorps member will be there and can actually provide that assistance for the time needed as needed.
We have an excellent question from the chat. Will curriculum be provided? And I'm so glad you asked that because we do. We have 15 plus now trainings that have been developed during our planning period that AmeriCorps members will be able to use in the classroom, or there's also tips for one-on-one assistance. The topics are kind of range from your very basics, so basic computers, what is a mouse, what is a monitor. You'd be surprised how many people, don't actually know this, and they're afraid to admit that they don't know this. So it starts there, and then we have, what is basic internet? How does the internet work? How do you get on the internet? And then we take them to the next, email. How do you get an email? How do you sign up for an email? And then we go to, I'm not going to go into each one because there are 15, but topic office. Absolutely, a progression of topics. We have Microsoft Word. We have how to do charts in Excel. We have a lot of ones about, we have some about government benefits because that was a topic that was identified that people really do need to know more about. The libraries get a lot of questions.
Yeah, Mandy mentioned a topic that was brought up. We actually convened a task force identified of some IT workers from the more rural parts of the state to kind of help us hone and come up with these 15 or so topics that they get asked on a regular basis, so that when we were able to put together these kind of pre-constructed classes, that we would be on topic. We didn't want, or on target. We didn't want to, create what we thought was most important, and then, our AmeriCorps members get to the libraries and they get there and they say, well, no one cares about Microsoft Word. We've actually heard it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So we feel pretty confident that these 15 or so presentations will suit the needs.
And there is some flexibility in this. I mean, the curriculum is provided, but what's most important is that the content is delivered, that people gain these skills. So we have the curricula set up, but there is room for flexibility, I guess.
Right. There's no rule or limit against enhancing what's currently there or coming up with a training class or package all of your own based on that specific community's need. You know, we're certainly not going to tell the AmeriCorps member that you must only teach these 15 and not something else that might come up.
Yes. If you want to see a full list of the trainings that have been prepackaged, go to guidingohioonline.org. I think it's /training, but don't quote me on that. Go to guidingohioonline.org, and you'll see one of the top menu items is training materials. If you click on that, they're grouped by topic. So that will give you the full scope of what we have. But that's not all our members are going to do. Another key aspect is we want our members to engage the communities that they serve. If you haven't seen it before, this is something I just love about working for the state library. So this is our mobile lab. It looks like a bookmobile, but it is actually a computer lab that travels around the state and provides computer classes. So this is it parked outside of a library. So what we want our AmeriCorps members to do is really engage the community. So, you know, you can do computer classes inside the library, but you don't have to do just that. Think about going to where these specific populations are. So the people who need these skills the most are adults with lower educational attainment, adults making less than $30,000 a year, seniors, and adults living with a disability. So think about places that you would find those demographics. So senior centers, perhaps job and family services centers like One Stop Shop, food banks, other community organizations. So we want people to be able to go outside the library walls and really engage with the community, hear what kind of computer classes that people want, and provide those services. And a big part of that is also the marketing. If you don't tell people that you have these services, that the library has, these awesome resources and classes and databases and all these, amazing things that we provide, if they don't get used, then there's no point to them. So another key aspect of what our members will do is to market these trainings and other library digital resources within the community.
And I think that's probably what Mandy just said, probably encapsulates what makes this program different than just hiring a library staff member. I mean, these last two things that Mandy mentioned kind of really summarizes the AmeriCorps experience, is that, these people that are placed into the libraries are AmeriCorps members first and foremost, and so they have a certain responsibility to be civic-minded, community-minded, and really look at ways to engage and grow the community, in addition to doing kind of the day-to-day functions of their job, which is, the one-on-one, the training, that sort of thing.
So another key aspect that members do is to coordinate volunteers. And this is part of the sustainability piece of this project. So no grant project lasts forever. This particular grant project will last a minimum of 3 years. We hope it will last much longer, but at a minimum, we'll have it for 3 years, and members, we'll get into how members will serve in just a minute. But what happens when, grants run out? What's going to happen? We don't see this need for digital literacy training being, solved in a 3-year period. So we need our AmeriCorps members to help grow volunteers at the library in order to kind of build, people to take on these roles once, the AmeriCorps member moves on or the grant project is done. And as you'll see here, you'll say to yourself, okay, what is a nice young man and lady giving, a homeless person food and beverages? What does that have to do with digital literacy? But actually, as another part of the program, the AmeriCorps members will coordinate and execute at least one day of service with other AmeriCorps members. And this is just kind of something different to do. There's no strict focus. It could be a homeless project like this. It could be work with children. It could be community gardens. And that will be, I think it'll be on Martin Luther King Day for us.
Right. It's a statewide or national endeavor, and there's a certain bank of days that you can choose from. And so the Guiding Ohio Online members at all of the various participating libraries will be doing this all at once.
Mm-hmm. And that's, again, I mean, it's true of us, but there'll be other AmeriCorps members in different locations also doing a wide variety of projects. And that's something that we'd really like to see the members input and ideas on what kinds of extra community service activities that they would do. But that's just a small part of the project overall.
Right, but again, it goes back to that's what makes this an AmeriCorps project versus libraries just hiring part-time staff.
Yes, it's an AmeriCorps project. So this is a map of where our members serve, and it was put together by our very own Evan, so I'll let him talk about the color markers.
Right, so I have to admit it was my first time using kind of the Google Maps API, yes. So it's very basic, but basically there's a pin on the map for each location of our 30 pilot year participants. The red pins are where a full-time member is required, and we'll get into what full-time means versus part-time. We have 10 of those, and as you can see, they're somewhat spread out throughout the state, but mostly northwest and some southern parts, southeast parts. And then our blue, we have 20 blue pins, and those are our part-time participants. And again, spread out throughout the state, you can see that rural pockets and pockets of poverty are everywhere. You know, I think I can speak for Mandy. When we first started this, getting an idea about this program, we kind of thought to ourselves, oh, well, this will be the southeastern part and the northwestern part, and that's it. And that's really not been the case. We've got participants from all over, and it's been very interesting and eye-opening for us as well as we learn about the state that we've lived in for many years now.
Absolutely. So I did want to point out a couple to you just because of your physical location in Belmont. St. Clairsville is a participating library. Also Belmont County, and I think they are based out of Martins Ferry, but it's really a county-wide system. So those are two I wanted to point out for you. And then I always say this library's name wrong, so I'm going to apologize. It's Tuscarora.
Oh, Tuscarora.
Harrison County.
Yeah.
So St. Clairsville and Belmont are both looking for a part-time person, as you can see from the blue pins. And Harrison County.
Tuscarora.
I love this library. I'm at fault here, guys. They're looking for a full-time person. So we can get in a little bit more to what full-time and part-time mean, but you can see from this map, we really are all across Ohio. And if you have any questions about a particular location, just let us know, either in the chat. Oh, it's in Cadix. What is the library below Southern Columbus? That is the Wagnalls Memorial Library in Lycopollis. And they are also looking for a part-time person.
And we're in the process of getting this API map on the website so that you'll be able to hover over each of the pins and get the information. Yes. We're just one step away from having that be a reality, so it'll be there shortly.
Oh, sure. The library, again, below Southern Columbus is the Wagnalls Memorial Library in Lycopollis. Lycopollis, I love that name because they have a honey festival. I don't know, that's how I always remember them. Are there any other particular ones, real quick? Okay, so again, you can always go to guidingohioonline.org. If you look under Join, it has a link to the participating libraries. Oh, one near Toledo. There's several kind of up in that Toledo area. The full-time person is Wood County and Pemberville. They're working together. That is in Bowling Green, yes. Also, kind of near Toledo is the Harris Ellsmore. Is it a memorial library?
I think it is.
Okay. Sandusky is looking for a full-time. Harris Ellsmore is looking for part-time. And Richard. Is that how you say that?
Burchard.
Burchard. Oh, this is why I need to have a My excuse is I'm from Pennsylvania and I don't know how to say Ohio. The Burchard
Yes.
Library of Sandusky is also looking for a part-time person. And again, if you have any other specific ones, go to guidingohioonline.org. Okay, how long do members serve? So members will serve for an 11-month period. So that'll start on October 1st and go to August 29th. So that'll be August 1st. I keep saying August, but I'm sorry, guys. Scratch August. October. I'm losing my mind. October 1st. I'm going to say it again. October 1st. October 1st. October 1st, 2014, and end August 29th, 2015. So that's an 11-month period. Full-time members serve 1,700 hours as a minimum between those two dates, and part-time people serve 900 hours. Now, you'll probably, I've told the libraries, and I'll tell you too, generally speaking, if you're a full-time person, that works out to about 40 hours a week, and generally speaking, a part-time person will work about 20 hours a week. Now, you can space that out with your host library however you'd like. So, for instance, say you're in school, but it's spring break. You're a part-time person, but you have lots of extra time. You could do more hours during that week. On the same kind of flip side, say it's Christmas time. You like to spend some time at home or take some time off work. You can spend less time, as long as you've cleared it with the library that you work for.
Right. I think that's really the major takeaway from there. There is flexibility, but just like any job,
right.
You will have a site supervisor that you have to report to, and as long as you both can work out the schedule, there's really no problem, so long as you do complete the amount of hours that are required.
And this is another major difference between being like an employee of the library and an AmeriCorps member. And it brings up a good point that I needed to touch on a little bit more. AmeriCorps members are considered paid volunteers, so they're not employees. So it's a kind of a weird distinction, but it's because of the special status that the time is different, and that when we get into it, the benefits are a little done differently. But again, October 1st, saying it again, October 1st through August 29th. I had October in my mind, I just couldn't say it. So again, 1,700 hours for full-time, 900 hours for part-time. So say you were really enjoying your AmeriCorps service, you were just moving at a groove, and you wanted to serve a second year. That is absolutely acceptable as long as your host site or your host library, agrees. And as we get into benefits, an education award is awarded as long as when you complete the 11-month period, and you can get up to 2 of those. You can serve 4 years as an AmeriCorps member, but only receive 2 education awards, if that makes some sense. So you can do a second 11-month period. Oh, so now we're getting into benefits. So what do members receive? I'll be totally upfront with you. Being a paid volunteer is not a lucrative experience. It'll be very rich. You'll learn a lot. It'll be an awesome professional development, but the living allowance is very modest. So it's up to $12,100 for a full-time member and up to $6,406 for a part-time member. So they say up to because, say, for some reason or another, you weren't able to start on that October 1st date, then the pay, or the living allowance, I should say, is prorated from the time you do start. So that's why they say up to. In addition, I mentioned really briefly the education award. So if you complete your 11-month term with the required number of hours, you will receive an education award for full-time members It's $5,645, and so that money can either go to pay your existing student loans, or you can pay it forward to receive more education. I was an AmeriCorps member. I used mine to go to library school, so there you go. And for a part-time member, they also will receive an education award of $2,822. And again, those will be prorated. So say you start late, you may receive somewhat less. Another thing that I think is always good to mention to folks today, because there's so much in the news about student loans and how high they are. While you're an AmeriCorps member, your federal student loans will be placed on forbearance, and there's a form to fill out where we can have the Corporation for National Community Service pay the interest on those federal student loans. I can provide some more information, and there's more information on our website on that. So those are kind of the benefit side. Also, full-time members can receive health insurance, and there is a child care credit, again, for full-time members. So those are kind of the benefits, but there's so many more, I don't know what the word I'm looking is. The networking and the experience is really what this program is about.
Right, the things that maybe can't be tied to a dollar amount.
Yes, yes. So, you're interested in working in a library. This will provide you with networking, support with career goals. Instead of being just a name on a resume, suddenly you know all these people in libraries. You have this really tangible experience. You get this, I really feel, one of my primary motivations, and I think this is true of a lot of librarians, that our real impetus for becoming a librarian is the pride of making a difference in the community.
Right. I don't think there are many librarians that get into the business to become rich.
Yeah. If you're here for that, you may want to look elsewhere. Mark, someone has a question about health care. So for full-time members, there's a special AmeriCorps health care insurance. I won't gloss it for you. Because the AmeriCorps member is not an employee, they're a paid volunteer, the health insurance is not as robust as other health insurances out there. I can give you specific information if you email me, and I'll give you my contact information at the end. And there's a little information on the website about it. We have a whole FAQ about health insurance that I can also provide to you. But it's very complex, and that's why it'll take up the whole rest of our time if I get into it. So who are we looking for? So you see here, I put up a little mirror. Maybe this person is you. So the type of person that we think would be really successful in this program is someone who has a lot of flexibility. You want to kind of go over some of these?
Yes. Flexibility is really key because I don't know if any of you have already worked in smaller libraries, rural libraries, or have been a patron of smaller libraries. That experience for me was a really defining experience even now. And I haven't worked at my hometown library for 15 years, but it's all hands on deck, and there's a lot of kind of everyone has to help with everything, and so you just never know what type of computer-related question you're going to get. And so really having that flexibility of mind and that patience of character is just so key in a candidate for this program. And of course, I think this is obvious, but you have to show interest in helping others. People who come to the library and utilize your classes or your services, they're going to be able to see through someone who's just kind of there to get their education award and go. They need to see that you care about them, that you're interested in teaching, that you're interested in outcomes, helping people get a job or helping people sign up for WIC benefits or welfare benefits. I mean, those are very important to the people who are asking the question, and so it needs to be important for the Guiding Ohio Online member as well. You're also, we're looking for people who can support their colleagues, so not just the staff that you'll be working with in the library, but also your fellow Guiding Ohio Online members. Certainly, we will be having events where we get the whole group together so that people can start to make friends, make those connections on Facebook, and you can really start to support each other. You know, say there's a question in Sandusky that comes up in Jackson, Ohio as well, and those two AmeriCorps members can start communicating and having dialogue about how they handled a certain situation. Communication, of course, is key. Like I said, you know, with the members being spread out all along the state, we're going to really expect people to utilize all of those kind of distance communication tools. And ultimately, respect. The Guiding Ohio Online members will be dealing with populations that are hesitant, that are scared, that might be embarrassed of particular situations that they find themselves in, and we don't want someone who makes them further uncomfortable. We want people who respect folks from all walks of life.
So some other things, as you can probably imagine, since this is a computer program, we want someone who, you know, feels comfortable using a computer, feels comfortable using the internet, browsing, has kind of, you know, understands, you know, email, how email works, and social media, and also someone who has, you know, a knowledge of Microsoft Office. The other component I wanted to mention, I don't want people to feel like they have to know how to do everything, you know, on day one. A huge part of this program is our training and development of the members. Like we said, I mean, we can't provide that much monetarily, but what we can provide is professional development and enhancement. So we will talk to you and train you about how to create a new computer class. We'll talk to you and train you about how to do community assessment. We'll talk to you and training you about how to do troubleshooting or anything kind of higher level. We're just at this, you know, when we're on day one, what we want people to have is just to feel comfortable with the computer, to know kind of, you know, what tablets and iPads and things like that are, have a kind of general understanding that libraries have ebooks, have other digital media. You don't need to have the nitty-gritty. We're here to give you that nitty-gritty. We have, again, a heavy training program. We have 3-day orientation. We have ongoing continual professional education. We have webinars. We have worksheets. If you are thirsty for knowledge, we are a font. You know, we will just, knowledge will pour forth from us.
And not only us, but the host sites as well. I mean, each individual site will be assigned, there will be a site supervisor that oversees the particular AmeriCorps member. And I think, as everyone knows, each library will have its own set of policies, their own amount of computers with certain types of software. Some will have higher-end software, some of them won't. And it just kind of, in that regard, you're almost at the mercy of the location that you end up in, which is fine. Again, it's that flexible spirit that we're looking for.
Yes. And I mean, that flexible spirit is really going to help you when you talk to other AmeriCorps members and learn their best practices from other libraries. Maybe there's something that, you know, one library is doing that could work with another, and they just haven't heard about it before. So there's a lot of, you know, adapting to new places that we're going to kind of look for. But again, you're not on your own. You're not out in the wilderness. We're here to talk you through these things to help you. Again, since we started as just mere children in libraries, we do have years of library experience. And we didn't talk about you know, our educational attainment, but we are both master degree librarians with, you know, a number of professional experience. Oh, the 3-day training will take place in Columbus at the State Library from October 1st, because the program again starts on October 1st through October 3rd. It will include a hotel stay that is provided, as well as some mileage from the event going back to your home location. Any other questions on kind of who we're looking for? I'll give you just a sec. It takes longer to type. All right. Well, moving right along, the base level of what you must have to be an AmeriCorps member in this program is this. You know, you must have a high school diploma or equivalent. You have to have a valid U.S. driver's license. You have to either own or have access to your own transportation. And that's, again, because of we're in rural areas, you can't rely on public transportation at all. Some of them will have some public transportation, depending on the county. But having access to a vehicle, we feel, is really key because it's just, I don't know how you would live in a rural area without a vehicle.
And one thing to consider too is that, especially if you end up working for a county library system, there might be multiple branches that you would go to provide the classes or to do the one-on-ones or what have you. And so you would need to be able to get from the main location to the branch and back.
Yeah, for example, Belmont County, their main location's in Martins Ferry, but they have several other ones throughout the state. So maybe Tuesday you're in Martins Ferry, Wednesday you're in a branch. Another question from the chat: will we ever be asked to do any other library duties by the host library? I'm really glad you asked this question. AmeriCorps is very concerned about what they call displacement. So what that means is they're really worried that unscrupulous people, we know there's none in libraries, but there's zero, but other organizations, AmeriCorps is concerned that they would fire or not hire an existing position and hire an AmeriCorps member instead. So AmeriCorps members are not allowed to do kind of clerical work, working the circulation desk, working the reference desk, tasks that would be normally assigned to another staff member. I mean, that being said, I mean, if you wanted to shadow someone, say you wanted to learn more about someone's work and wanted to be on the desk with them, that's a different scenario because at that point you're being trained. You're not taking over that person's position.
Right. I could see an example where I could see that coming into play is maybe the AmeriCorps member, the Guiding Ohio Online member, goes to his library. Maybe he or she wants to see how a reference interview is conducted, because there are kind of quasi-reference interview components to doing one-on-one computer training. So that would totally work. You know, do we want to see the AmeriCorps member, you know, running the library at a director level? No. Do we want to see the AmeriCorps member actually checking in and out books? No. We want them cleaning toilets, like janitorial? No, we don't want to see that.
Shelving books?
No. Right. But if a reference question kind of teeters that line between maybe using kind of book or print resources and computer sources, and the librarian has a line of people that they need to help, I don't see why it would be inappropriate to be able to ask the AmeriCorps member to help finish up the transaction part that's computer related.
Yes. So I hope that helps. So the answer is kind of a no insofar as you cannot staff the desk by yourself or do clerical tasks or shelf books. But yes, insofar as if it's like a training experience, say you're particularly interested in cataloging, you want to see the cataloger in action, that's different. So there's kind of a distinction between placement and not. Okay, So this is the really exciting part. I hope you're as excited about this program and as Evan and I are. We're super jazzed. All of our libraries are super jazzed. We're all like, woo, ready to go, but we need AmeriCorps members. So how do I apply? So step one is you'll fill out an application on my.americorps.gov. Now I wanted to warn you, Guiding Ohio Online is listed twice. So one is for full-time members, one is for part-time members. So just review it, before you apply to make sure you're applying for the amount of hours that you're interested in. So once you do that, and it includes like a motivational statement and references and some other information, that will come to me, and you'll receive an email from me that includes a supplemental application. So that will ask you questions specific to our program. The AmeriCorps one it just asks you, why do you want to be an AmeriCorps? This supplemental application will allow you to highlight particular skills that you have or interests or educational desires or things like that. And then you'll return this to me by June 6th for first consideration. Also on that, a question I've gotten a lot from folks is, can I make sure that my library goes, or my application goes to a particular library? So say you are only interested in libraries in the Toledo area. You can say on that supplemental application, I'm most interested in, this library, that library, and that library. Or maybe you're not that specific. You can also say, I'm interested in libraries in the South region. There's a lot of great libraries down there. Brown, Adams are participating, Athens, Jackson, probably lots more that I can't even think of. Wonderful libraries. You can also put that instead.
But remember, that information you need to supply to us on the supplemental application. There won't necessarily be a spot for that on the higher level, the AmeriCorps application.
Right. So another question we get a lot about the AmeriCorps program is about, am I going to go anywhere in the world? Or
are they going to ship me off to Alaska the moment I sign up for AmeriCorps?
The answer is no, because we're a state program. Again, you'll search specifically for our program, so you'll apply just to us. The application, again, will be kind of generic because it's the same application for all AmeriCorps programs. It'll just, you just either search for Guiding Ohio Online, will get you obviously good search results, or if you look at, places in Ohio that are currently accepting applications, we should also show up under G. So what questions do you have? Is Chillicothe and Rouse County Public Library part-time? Yes. They are currently seeking a part-time member. That's one that I'm really excited about. They really are interested in outreach in particular to low-income facilities, if memory serves. How many openings are there now, essentially? So there are currently, all of the positions are open. There are 10 full-time positions. There are 20 part-time positions, and no one has been hired yet. We hope to have them in place soon. Is there a list of libraries you showed us online somewhere? Yes, on guidingohioonline.org. If you go to /join, you'll see there's a link that says list of participating libraries, and that will give you a full list. And it'll also, if you click on the link, we're going to have the map there soon. It's not there yet. Right now, it's the link to the map. If you've had a recent background check, would that be okay? Or would you have to get a more recent? Yes, you'll have to get a recent background check that is paid for through us. So there's no cost associated with that, but everyone will need to get a background check. Jackson is also part-time. Sorry, I didn't really take a breath. But Jackson is another exciting one. I really enjoy Jackson. Is it in a converted grocery store, that library?
Yes, that library is in an old IGA grocery store, and Jackson County is just one county away from where I grew up. And I really like the director there, her name's Laura Thorne, and she has a lot of energy and enthusiasm, but she has a staff of 7, and it's just not feasible for her to be able to supply the type of computer literacy training that that community really wants.
So again, there is no cost to the background check for the participants?
Yep, that's coming out of our grant.
That's out of our pocket.
Yeah, we'll worry about that.
Yeah. You just worry about being awesome, which I already know you will be. Are there any other particular areas? Let's see. Near Jackson is also the Kate Love Simpson Library, which is in Morgan County. Not really? Oh, I guess it's more north. We're looking at the list. Evan knows Southeast Ohio much better than I do. He's a native son. Well, Athens isn't.
Yeah, Athens is looking for a full-time member, and they have quite a hub of activity there with OU. It's become quite the little booming college town.
Oh yeah. Another note: St. Clairsville has installed a great technology part of their library. I love St. Clairsville. Their new library director, Robin Vitek, she has got so many things going on. And I know she's just so excited about her AmeriCorps member and all the wonderful things that they'll be able to do with that extra, human power.
Yeah, looking at this list, there's not one bad location on here.
Yeah.
We've worked extensively with some of the directors and deputy directors and their staff. It's going to be a great experience, wherever you land. It's just, knowing yourself and your own comfort zone and figuring out how you can make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. Another question I've gotten, particularly from students, is about school-work balance. I think it's hard to guide people on this because it really does depend on the individual. So maybe for, I think for some people, the part-time is perfect while you're a full-time student. I've been a full-time employee and a full-time student before, and I've made that work. Right now, I'm getting a second master's, and I'm a full-time worker and a part-time student. So there's a lot of different ways that this program can supplement and enhance your schooling. It really just depends on knowing what works for you.
Yeah, the time management part is key. And I think one of the things that the full-time members get, they do have for childcare.
Yes.
They have some sort of is it a voucher system or?
Yeah, it's a voucher system, and we have some more information on the website about it. We have a question: should we or could we contact or talk to local directors about what they envision with this program? I think I don't see a reason why not. I mean, what we really want to see happen is both the libraries and for the potential AmeriCorps members. If one person is unhappy with that, no one is happy.
Right.
So what we really want to do, right from the get-go, is make sure that what you want and expect and need out of this program correlates, strongly with the needs and expectations and wants of the host site. So I would absolutely talk to the local director about their vision, about what they want to do. And I think, if you don't feel comfortable bringing that up, just calling them on the phone, that's another great question. Should you get an interview?
Yeah.
That is a wonderful thing to kind of go over with them during in that space.
Right.
Because again, employment is like a marriage. If one party isn't happy, there's nobody that's happy. Any other questions?
Kind of going back to the last question that was asked there about going in and speaking to them in advance of the program. Another component of that is to remember that it is going to be the local libraries that are the ones that will ultimately select who's there. Mandy and I are here to guide and help, and we're going to sit in on some of the final interviews. But we're from Columbus. We don't know the local communities like those directors do, and so. While we will help the hiring process, we are not the people who will say, you know, Tom Smith goes here, Susie Jones goes here. It's going to be the libraries themselves that ultimately.
And again, if you have any other questions, please do visit our website, guidingohioonline.org. Okay, it is, I'm being told it is the time we told that you know, we would let you go by, and I want to be respectful of your time. But just to note that, you know, here are our email addresses, here are our phone numbers. We also have a toll-free phone number that will work in Ohio. When you call the toll-free line, you have to ask for us. It's a general line, but just know that.
Yeah, and we're happy to answer any questions after this webinar, so please don't hesitate to reach out. And again, visit the website, guidingohioonline.org, and see what we're all about. And we hope that you're interested enough to join us on this endeavor.
Yeah, we're excited. We hope you're excited. Thank you, everyone, so much for taking the time.
Have a great day now, guys.
I'm going to end the recording.